of knowledge that he has on just about any topic. Matter of fact, we were just playing a clip from Whoopi Goldberg. Why don't you play that again?
Oh, yeah. Let's go ahead and play the clip and see what you have to. So Ben's in college, and so he will have his perspective on the whole student loan thing, and I guess what it's like for someone his age today going to school and what he has to deal with. So we'll hear what he has to say. I'll go ahead and click play. To be fair, you are new to the college game, right? When do you start?
This is my second semester that I'm going into later in August.
Okay, rock and roll. Let's hear what Whoopi has to say about it.
Through any kind of college, that's because they're paying off these freaking student debt. Slam on young people. But if you have worked your behind up, you've tried to move yourself up the ladder. You talk about people can't get gas, they can't buy food, they can't put their children through any kind of college. That's because they're paying off these freaking student debt. Slam on.
Curious.
Yeah, it depends on the debt. If you're a doctor and you got almost $1 million of student loans, but you're making 100 or 200, even more thousand a year, that kind of makes sense. You can afford it. But if you spend $100,000 for college, and you're getting I would consider useless degrees, drama classes, underwater basket weaving.
How dare you?
Yeah.
That should be on them. They chose those stupid classes knowing that they're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah. And if you want to pay for it and you want to do it out of pocket, I don't care. But when you are getting loans for it, which I believe is subsidized by the American government, then you should be responsible for it. I mean, if I bought a car right now, I'm responsible for that loan. It doesn't matter if in 5 years I'm like, oh, hey, this BMW that I've just spent $10,000 in repairs over however many years is causing me more money, or I just regret it. That doesn't mean I can just, oh, hey, go back to the dealer and they can forget my loan. No, I made that decision. I have to live with it.
Why'd you specifically choose a BMW?
wonder-
You taking a dig at me? Come on, man.
In reference to
That's
an earlier
actually that's
conversation.
literally my story. But yeah, okay, that's interesting. I see your take on it. So
and that's not even mentioning the other scholarships or the grants or stuff like that. I did all right in high school. I got A's and B's. Couple classes I kind of passed off on, but I took a lot of college classes in high school that are direct classes from college that are taught in high school and I get credit for. So that's how I got done with a lot of my elective classes, since even though I'm going into engineering, the CAD classes I learned in high school aren't considered, they're considered electives, even though I have to take that same class again and whatever. I'm on a tangent at this point.
no, that's fine. I get it.
yeah,
That's why
yeah,
they
yeah.
can test out. You can test out of some of the classes, right?
I
you wanted
believe
to?
so. I'd have to look into it.
Yeah, I did that a couple.
So that
couple
directly affects the amount of money you have to take in student loans.
Not only the amount of money that you have to pay, but just the time, because that's a couple credit hours that you've already completed in high school, which is typically free, where you don't have to pay for a book or anything like that.
So what can we agree on as a nation? What do you think the problem is? You think that the problem, the real root of the problem, is that school at this point is becoming too expensive or obsolete?
So I think there's three main problems. High schools, well, the entire schooling system before college is very college heavy. They're always pushing you towards college. My high school didn't do it as much. They did bring up, like, hey, the military is an option, there's trade, stuff like that. But there was still a significant heavy push into college. For some other people who are just graduating high school, I think that instead of just going to college for the sake of going to college, you can get another job for maybe even a year just to make some extra money, and that's how you can put that towards college. I think another big problem is that because there's this, for one, constant supply of new students for these colleges, they can charge whatever they want, knowing that those students are going to get loans, and there's no limitations. You can have terrible credit, not even have a job and still get a several $10,000 loan.
So what we need in this country is really education for people coming out of high school so that they can decide what route they want to go. Don't you think that maybe high schools need to push an agenda of grooming children, young minds? Sorry, I apologize. I know that's a very hot topic right now about grooming children in the wrong kind of ways. But to sort of prepare people's minds how to prepare for college, how to decide what your strengths are and maybe where you should put your focus, et cetera, et cetera. Do you think that's lacking in schools now? When you went through school, was there anyone guiding you, or what did it have to come from your house? Like people at home had to guide you? Or did the school have infrastructure in place to say, you know what, Ben, this is what you seem to be good at and this is probably where you should put your focus? Or is that even there?
I've always been interested in mechanical engineering, which is actually what I'm studying. I've always been interested in building things, how stuff works. So that was very easy for me.
Right.
What I saw a lot in my high school class is a lot of no forward direction. A lot of them were just living in the moment, without any goals or aspirations or even what they wanted to do in the next year.
So your foundation came from home.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what guided you through school. But the problem is that everybody's saying that schools need to be the dominant force in a child's life and not the family. That's the argument being pushed out right now, that we need to, parents shouldn't be trying to tell their kids anything. The teachers have that right. The teachers have to groom the children. But what you're saying is that when you went through school, you didn't see any focus, any kind of
grooming going on,
any kind of guidance, not grooming, but guidance for the students to choose a path. It was sort of like just a collision of
throw it down
atoms.
the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
There'd be a couple of times where the counselor for the school had their college day or what you want to be when you grow up, where you
right.
take this, short test, and it's like, oh, you're a doctor, you're a firefighter, you're a mechanic.
That's
and that's about it. At least from what I saw. Yeah.
Jim, when you went through high school, how was your high school? Like, did you guys have something that like a shop or home ec or something that kind of?
I have another point about that too.
We had shop classes and different things like that, but we had student counselors, but it seemed they were very picky. They picked the elite to talk to, and
honor roll.
Yeah, honor roll and above students that really stood out academically. And the ones that didn't just kind of fell to the wayside. They just kind of let them go their own way, which is great, one thing, but there should be two levels of academics in this school. They should be finding the kids that are getting lost in the system and giving them guidance to get them back on track. Because once you get down a path so far, you kind of give up. I mean, I was a high school dropout.
So was I.
Yeah.
I really... To be honest with you, some of my highlights for high school was shop, when I took shop. And I don't even think it's offered anymore, is it?
No, they were taking it out of a lot of schools.
Yeah, we had wood shop, we had metal shop, we had auto shop.
I remember that. I did a lot of those different shop things.
I couldn't wait to get into auto shop, and I was going to do that in my senior year, but things got kind of out of sorts in my 10th grade year, and then in the beginning of my 11th grade, it just got a little overwhelming, and I just kind of dropped out. Went and took my GED, which I did very good on, and
I did, yeah.
And then joined the military.
Yeah, and then similar path. We've had a similar.
Yeah,
and I went to Indian Hills. For a while.
I didn't see any other options. Nobody ever talked to me about any other options. Nobody ever talked to me about raising my grades. I mean, when I took my GED was actually the first time anyone ever took concern. They seen my GED scores and they said, "These are fantastic GED scores." They said, "You got college level grade stuff going on here." They said, "If you hold off and you study just a little bit harder, bring these points up just a little bit, so we can get you all the grants you want and get you into college." They really tried to push the college thing,
right?
But they never really talked about academically what I would go in for. I mean, that was
Right.
So that didn't appeal to me at all. They didn't say, "Hey, you would be good at this," or "You would be good at that," or from
So
what
that's
I'm
what
seeing.
you were trying to allude to earlier when you said that you should probably take the first year off when you graduate high school of just working to figure out what you like and what you don't like before deciding to go to college.
Yeah, I already had my life already kind of planned out of going into engineering since first grade. So that was easy for me. But for some people who still don't know what they're doing, you can take a year off before going into college. I mean, in fact, a year after school, after however, 12, 13 years of schooling, that's kind of nice to have. Just kind of a break. And then you can really figure out what you want to do, work, a bit to actually build up some income.
Probably multiple jobs, so you kind of figure out what you like and don't like.
I think what happens in that time frame, though, is more people figure out what they don't want to do.
Yeah.
They still don't know where they want to go academically because they haven't had any true guidance or mentorship to look at their capabilities. Some people don't realize what their skills really are.
Correct.
And unless somebody from the outside works with them, follows through with them, because there's so many.
This is where family comes in, by the way.
Well,
I think. Well, your close family, your immediate family.
Your family may want
if-
you to be a doctor or lawyer,
Yeah.
but you might not have the capability of doing that at all.
Right,
or,
that's true.
Or even the want to.
That's true.
But what your real skill levels are can be tested. I mean, if somebody worked with you one-on-one and they run some tests and they run some questionnaires by you and stuff, that would really start to open up all the possibilities there are for you. And then the other thing I think that the whole college system, everybody drops the ball on, is financial
Education.
No, financial direction. Where are you going to be financially in the career that you're choosing, and are you going to be happy with that financial income? And how far up the ladder can you go, or do you want to go? In other words, what kind of lifestyle do you want to live?
That's what the counselors at the college are supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean, they get.
But I've never had that experience.
Yeah,
I mean,
Ben, let me ask you this. Do you have any idea what kind of lifestyle you want to live financially and what your career direction is going to give you financially? And do the two meet?
For engineering, it pays pretty well.
give me a ballpark.
From what I've seen, it's anywhere from about 60 starting to 100,000. That's very rough, and there's different.
You're already there now.
Yeah.
So technically, okay, so let's be real. So, okay, let's jump back to what you just asked him about. What lifestyle do you want?
I'm not someone who needs super flashy things. I'm not someone who wants to live. That needs to live.
So do you want to drive a $20,000 car, or do you want to drive like a $80,000 truck?
I'm perfectly fine driving a $20,000 car.
I also drive an $80,000 truck.
I know.
I drive a piece of junk Chevy Aveo that looks like a shoe. That's what I've nicknamed it.
That's good. That's a good minimalist mindset to have in general, wealthy or not.
Keep this in mind too.
Okay.
Now, the other person that may come into your life eventually is going to want a certain type of lifestyle.
Oh.
Now,
That's
depending
true.
on what they want, are you willing to do whatever you can to make that person happy in that lifestyle
That's a
they
good
want?
question, boy.
If it's, taken away from my goals and aspirations, and if I'm, need to work 2 jobs and I'm, $200,000 in debt because of it, you're out of there.
So you're going to put you first instead of your family first.
That sounds bad, but
No, that's a fact.
yeah. Like I put myself first, and if someone else wants to contribute or have the same expectations, if that makes sense, as I do, then sure, yeah, I'll take that. But I'm not gonna be, stressing all my life so that other people can be happy.
The sad part to this whole story is we can't predict the person that will come into our life and how they'll be. This person may be this gal may be the love of your life, and you will do anything for her because she has rocked your world in ways that you can't imagine right now. And you'll just want to give her the best life possible.
Correct. And within reason.
Yeah.
Listen, everybody.
But if she feels the same way with you, it'll be a mutual coordination.
Yeah.
Towards mutual goals.
And relationships are like businesses too. You got to fine tune them. I mean, they'll be rough in the beginning, but as you guys are spending more years together, and she has to also. Sorry, I didn't mean to say the gender. I mean,
I would love to hear somebody,
he or she or it decides that.
Drop the gender. We're talking normal relationships.
If I'm
here.
still driving my 2009 Chevy Aveo, and she's driving a crazy expensive, breaks down all the time
G-Wagon.
Then that's a problem.
Maybe she just wants the newest year car, Yeah,
most of women, I think. Most people usually just want something with less headache, so they just want new vehicles.
Something reliable that they don't have to worry about, that they put gas in, and that has a maintenance schedule. I mean, most new vehicles, you buy them, the dealership stands behind the first year or two of maintenance,
and sometimes it's cheaper to lease also now these days. You lease
we'll talk about lease on.
Well, depending on your credit.
Well, I'm not sure about that. Leases
It's like
it depends on the situation you're in, where a lease would work or not.
Like in the situation of my brother in Florida, he had it was like $150 a month for like a Elantra that was he didn't have to think about, but he hardly drove. Oh no, I think he said the first 2 years it worked out great because he hardly drove.
But as soon as you have to drive it, put on miles.
And the third year,
not a good deal.
He switched to buying because he couldn't.
I put on way too many miles for a lease to even work out for me.
Correct.
And that would never. I would be.
So for a commuter who just goes to work and comes home, a lease is great. But for
if their commute to work and home isn't that many miles,
correct.
But, believe me, most leases it's a very tight line.
12,000 miles
you'll park that car for weeks at a time because you're putting too many miles on it.
Correct. Which is what he also used to do. I remember
what it cost me to have my car? Bought it outright 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's about $1,000 in repairs and maintenance over the years on average, and then just gas.
Yeah. No, listen, you got your head on your shoulders. I think a lot of people your age, like myself included, I didn't even come close to that type of thinking. So you are blessed.
You're decades ahead of most people your age.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that are like you too. I've met them throughout my life. I've met people that really done that. And there was a guy I was talking to earlier today, just called me and told me, hey, guess what? I mean, he always calls me and tells me what his next thing is. He's getting his CDL and he's all excited. He's going to become a truck driver. We'll see how long that lasts. And that's his thing. Sometimes it might be his thing.
Correct.
It might be his thing. So you never know. But I mean, he's tried many different things. I talked to him one time. He was doing bicycle repairs. He was actually literally working for himself. He had to buy some tools for the company, but he could go on this website and Walmart would be shooting up, I need all these bikes put together. He could show up and he could have made a six-figure income.
I think I know what app you're talking about. I used to use an app like that.
Yeah, well, he was working for a company. He had to get certified to build
Rabbit something.
I don't know what it was.
Rabbit.
It was a company. No, it wasn't TaskRabbit. It was a
similar to that.
No, it was a bicycle. A bicycle assembly company.
Oh,
they paid these guys to go to different stores and assemble the bicycles for Target, for Walmart, when a shipment would come in. But there was multiple ones of them, and they were competing against each other.
Yeah.
And they had to get up early. He goes, I keep missing. I said, what time do you check the website? When I get up, what time's that? Oh, noon? I'm like, dude, these guys are hungry.
There's a lot of other guys.
The hungry guys are going to win. You got to be hungry, and you got to go do it.
Same thing when I used to work in cable.
And so he's kind of decided that self-employment's not for him. So that's why he wanted to go to the CDL route. He's going to work for a trucking company. They're going to put him in a rig. He's going to go from point A to point B. And it's going to make decent money. Truckers make decent money.
I don't think there's anything wrong going the employee route. I think you can go either way. And I think everybody's going to slowly, they're going to change, right? You're going to have a period in your life when you get to, and you say, you know what, I've worked enough for people, and I think I've gained and gathered all this experience. I could probably apply this to whatever, and then your attitude might change, and things happen in your life that you morph. So I think people transition in and out of different stages at different times, and that's normal. That's okay. Some people want to be, some people from the get-go, like you, say, no way. I'm doing it for myself.
I've worked for employees, but every job I've had required a level of self-commitment, because I was on commission-based jobs, commission-based mechanic jobs, commission-based sales jobs, and you have to put forth a certain level of production to maintain that job and to maintain a decent income.
Correct.
Most of them give you a time limit, maybe what they do call is the guaranteed. You're gonna get this guaranteed pay, which, you know, for a person that's used to working 9 to 5 loves a guarantee. Oh, I got that, yeah. But these guys, they want you to go beyond the guarantee. They want you to make a higher income. So as long as you're hitting the guarantee and going above, they're going to keep you around. But if you're a person that's on the guarantee and you don't even hit the amount of sales to match the guarantee, they're going to let you go after a while.
Yeah.
You know, usually 6 months to a year and you're gone.
Something like engineering, which is what I'm going into for the...
Are you doing mechanical, electrical?
Mechanical engineering. So what that deals with is a lot of, mechanical parts, how stuff works together mechanically. So it's, imagine like a car, for example. Well, I'm not the mechanic who's fixing it. I'm the one who's designing it. I'm figuring out how the engine works, or...
right, you'll be with a team of people working on a project.
Yeah, something like that. It's really hard to just go out and create my own engineering firm, because who's going to pay and hire a guy who just graduated college?
No, yeah, most people get some experience under their belt first.
A couple years, and then creating my own firm. I'm still debating that. I'm not exactly sure how that's all going to pan out in the future, but yeah, that's what I've seen from other engineers, or just like the general concept.
Do you know of any companies that are? Have you went into the field and to the market and seeing hiring engineers in different companies, and what companies are they and stuff? Have you looked at the job market?
I haven't actively job searched. Engineering is very sought after talent, so I can go anywhere I'd want to. So but there's a couple of companies I've had an eye out in the local area. There's companies like AccuMold, which deals with super small injection molded parts, like incredibly small, smaller than your hair.
Wow.
There's also companies like John Deere or Collins Aerospace, or tons of different ones like that.
Yeah, I have a buddy in Florida. He works for Pratt and Whitney, just like a aerospace company, and they have him flying all over the world, man. Every time I talk to him, he's going in France or like Germany, and he uses I've seen him using CAD and SolidWorks and all this stuff. He's always designing, and then he goes over to his 3D. He does the same thing like you. He goes to his CNC machines and cuts out his designs and makes little parts. And I mean, it's amazing the stuff you do as an engineer, man. I love it. It's like an artist. You're literally like an artist. You're molding from math and physics something that's going to be a working part for people, you know, for humanity. It's amazing. I like it. I don't know this.
A friend of mine back in the 80s, when I was living down in Houston, Texas, he moved to California, and he was going over the border to Mexico every single day, and they were making chips. And what they had a machine that would grind, or that would cut the grooves, laser cut the grooves in the chips. Right. You know, it was just part of the stage of the whole thing. I mean,
that's what I was doing in Florida.
Hundreds of microns was what they were working with size-wise. I mean, they couldn't be off very much. Hang on one second here. Where's my phone? I heard it ringing.
While you're doing that, I'm going to get my water.
All right. Intermission break. We'll be right back. Okay. We're coming back in from intermission.
Is the lighting okay on here?
Yeah, lighting's fine.
I'm lit up pretty good.
All right. Welcome back. Where did we leave off before we went for a water break? Where
I
were we?
completely forgot.
Jim, you were going to start something about college dropouts and loans or something like that.
Well, yeah. I mean, we got off on a rabbit hole there, but let's come back. We were talking about the people that are whining about getting their student loans paid for are partially what Ben said. They're taking crap classes that don't amount to anything once they graduate. But the other ones are all of these people that quit and dropped out. They're still have to pay off them student loans.
I'm one of them.
My wife said if they get their student loans paid for by the government, she wants to be reimbursed for paying her student loan off. You know,
Yeah,
I mean, that's only fair.
Yeah, that's going to create a lot of problems in this country, by the way. Go ahead.
Why can't you pay for my schooling then?
Yeah, exactly. They're going to pay for them, pay for everybody. But,
Yeah.
you know, and that's the big reason that it should be just treated like any other debt, you know. Anybody that gets hospital debt, car debt, any kind of debt, we can't just start paying off everybody's debt. Everybody is responsible for their own debt. What we should be doing is
What about allowing people to be able to, like how you do with other debt? Every 7 years, you're allowed to file for bankruptcy or whatever you need to do to get yourself back to square one.
It still needs to be paid off.
No,
I mean,
well,
it's
Not
being
really,
paid
because by the
someone.
time, see, there's high interest rates on these loans too, by the way, guys.
right.
So you don't know how much they've already collected.
I mean,
that-
still, they can go to collection agencies and they can be negotiated and they can pay it off. I mean, a lot of that interest that's collected over all that time can be dumped, but, and the loans can still be paid off. I'm
Okay.
just saying they don't need to be wiped clean. People, there's so many businesses, companies, institutions out there to help you deal with your debt. You know, you can do, like some people, this is a concept, get a job.
Get a
But
job,
but like
while
Whoopi just said, you have a job and you can't survive because you're paying off that student debt.
Get a second job.
get a better job.
You know what? I can't take this anymore. I'm getting out of here.
Stop trying to go into acting or be a football player.
Yeah. Everybody wants something for free.
So what you
know,
guys are
that's-
proposing is that we fester an American culture of accountability.
Absolutely.
And I just don't see how that's going to work. I mean, why are we going to be accountable? Why can't the government just take care of everything for us and just take care of our lives?
I agreed. Jeff Bezos should be paying a lot more in taxes.
Yeah. No, I'm just
on,
being
Bill
I'm being
Gates,
facetious.
shovel
but
up some
I'm being
tax
facetious,
money.
but I'm just throwing it out there so that people can hear what your logic is, so
Yeah.
that they understand.
Well, and how ridiculous it really is. I
Yeah.
mean, we've been doing this for years. I mean, you don't spend money you don't have. It's just that way. I mean,
Unless
if you
you're
do
me.
if you do make a plan to go to college and you want to get some debt, make
Right.
sure the plan matches. That you got a job lined up that's going to pay for that. I mean, not absolutely lined up, but that it's a field that's open to go work in.
Yeah. We have so much information, so much resources, and so much help today, but unfortunately everybody is walled off from all of this because of nonsense. I mean, everybody's so caught up on fighting on superficial stuff and being thrown in the direction of fighting over what tribe they are with, rather than realizing that we have all this knowledge and information available to all these kids, all these families. All this conversation about privilege needs to stop because it's destroying our country. It's destroying us.
When you hear Whoopi
You know?
Goldberg spouting off on this, it's
Yeah.
just a media talking point to get
Put us
people-
against each other.
Well, it's division, of
Yeah.
course, but it's also a way for them to get some sort of committee going where they're going to raise money for this person. You raise
Right.
money for us, you give us some money, we'll make sure we get this problem taken care of. And you know how many times they've used this paying student loan off before a voting?
Oh, of course.
Oh my God!
And people
This
still
thing-
fall for it. I don't get it.
every time. Yeah. So they're just gonna any kind of talking point they can bring up. They think is gonna raise awareness and
Yeah.
raise money for
Yeah.
the cause. They're gonna do it.
But luckily, we live in a time where people are waking up to that fact now. I think I see a lot more people being conscious, and with a very small minority on the side that are yelling and screaming. They're not the majority. People falsely think they are because they get the voices on the news or on these little clips that you see. But most people are like us. We want to talk things through. We want to explore and kind of go down the road of figuring out what makes sense and come up with a solution rather than bicker and fight and scream about the tribe that I wanted is not there. Where, you know.
Yeah, if somebody come up on this mic and just started chanting, screaming, whatever they thought would make their point and allow no conversation,
right?
It doesn't solve anything.
Correct. What do you think, Ben? What's your last thoughts on student loans and the debt crisis from a student's perspective?
Basically, don't go to college unless you have a plan for it, and it's basically it's just a plan for it. What you're going to be studying, how you're going to pay for it, how it's going to impact you in the future. And really ask if college is even the way for you.
What other options would you have though if you don't have college?
There's tons of technician jobs. There's the good old welding, the military, stuff like that. There's also a lot of self-taught stuff. So
explain.
There's a big basically everything that you need to know from what I know. You can just find on YouTube or Google or online programs, stuff like that. I taught myself CAD well before I even took classes in high school for CAD.
Wow.
And I've been doing that for 5 years now.
How did that go? Let me ask you. You taught yourself CAD, then you went to high school and took the course. While you were taking the course, what did you 1,000%? They probably would say, I did exactly the same thing. Ben is on the right path. He knows exactly what he's doing. I feel that way.
Now, 20 years ago, that might have been a little bit different, but my generation...
You weren't here 20 years ago.
Okay, give me a couple more months. 5 more months, and
well, let's hear your take on the history here.
But my generation, we were able to, learn just about anything that we would need to, just at our fingertips. And I don't think a lot of my generation takes advantage of that.
To be...
Or not to be.
A little sarcastic here. Information's been at our fingertips forever.
Correct.
Not via the internet, but libraries. There's always been the kind of information. It just is a little bit more effort to go to a library, pull out a book, study, and learn something.
Yes,
correct.
Yes. I was talking about like the instant.
We are in an instant gratification society. We pull up a YouTube video on our phone, in our hand. It's in our pocket. The information and the technology that's available to kids now nowadays basically has it's a double-edged sword.
Right. Everything is, yeah.
Yeah, it can make them genius and on the right path, or it can make them absolutely lazy and never amount to anything. It's all in how you want to apply yourself.
This is why community is important. And when we destroy communities and we destroy culture and we destroy the things that help us grow as a society, which I think is what's happening right now around the world, not just in the United States. We're destroying the institution of families, neighbors, communities, schools, to the point where there's no guidance for anyone. It's a free-for-all. So people are just kind of just shooting from the hip everywhere because we lost that sense of community to some degree. Some people have it in small clusters, like in your case.
Right.
You're benefiting from that small cluster of community that you get to, but there's a lot of people out there who don't have that. They just kind of shoot from the hip and figure it out and stumble, and it takes longer for those people, like myself. If I had the head start you had, oh my goodness, I'd be Jeff Bezos by now. But
well, it's crazy. We only hear about the Jeff Bezos and that, but there's multiple levels of success.
Correct.
Below them that is just not as
That's
media
true.
hyped as the negative that's out there. We only see all the negative and tragedy. That's what media jumps on. It's the clickbait. But if we sat around like we're doing right now, talking about the success stories, hopefully someday this will be the media hype. The success stories, the successful average Joe that's out there that's doing just fine.
Correct. Feeding his family, doing things that they enjoy.
They
living
keep
a good
talking
life.
about
Yeah.
the recession we're in. a lot of us are are stressing through this recession,
Right.
but a lot of us are getting through it just fine. You know, we would like to be better off. I know I've had to tighten my belt, and I'm going out to eat a little bit less, and maybe taking a few less trips, and maybe not even looking at taking a plane flight anywhere for a while.
Yeah.
But
now
but we will survive.
scary
But
to
now,
do it
if this
because-
recession keeps going this direction, of course, it's going to get worse, and it's going to take a lot of people down with it. But you know, there's
Was it like
always
every 7 years there's a recession? Is that the
You know.
is that the model?
I mean, if I literally had to, I could go out and get a second job right now, and I would work day and night to make ends meet. I mean, you never have
You're
to.
talking about determination. If you're determined enough, you can work through any problem or
Right,
any
right.
situation. Okay.
Yeah, right now we just need to hang in for a year and a half and get through this 4 years of hell. And I think we will find a way out of this recession and start over again. Hopefully,
Yeah. Well, they say a recession is always an opportunity to build your wealth.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
all the big top
hard to
hitters
build your
tell
wealth
you that.
in a bear market unless you've got that kind of background.
Right.
You
right.
know, you know
Of
how to
course.
play a. You know how to
How to
play a
use
down
this time to
market.
buy the stuff to position. The word is position yourself for when there's an upswing.
When we get a
Yeah.
bull market back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most people are okay and understand a bull market, but the ones that
Right.
are getting wealthy right now are the ones that understand a bear market
Right.
and know how to work with that.
All right. Well, I guess that pretty much we're coming to a close right now. This is our third episode with our first guest,
Yep.
Benjamin Payzant. Thank you for being on the show. How was it? How did we do?
It's not too bad. Not too bad.
And we got a few guests lined up.
Oh, yeah.
For the future here, I've talked to a good friend
Darcy's
of mine
coming
down
in.
in Missouri. My wife wants to come in. I've got another friend on.
Chuck.
Yeah, he wants to do a session with us. Matter of fact, I got to call him back today. I have a missed message from him. But yeah, I think we can have some really good sessions coming up. So
All right.
if you just found our channel, stick around. We're going to get a lot better. We're going to have some interesting topics to talk about, and we may hit on something that you find very interesting.
All right. Rock and roll. It was
Yeah.
nice having you, and we'll look forward to having a lot more of you in the near future, hopefully.
Sounds good.
And like I said, guys, if you have any suggestions, comments, please leave in the comment section below. I'll try to post any of the links to the stuff that we did on the show today in the comment section. And also, please share it. Please let other people know about it. And if you are interested on being the show, talk about anything that interests you or something you want to let the world know about, go ahead and DM us, and we'll set that up. And thanks for coming on, and see you next time, folks. Oh, that's my camera.